Hello and what is up, guys? Rye here and welcome again back to some more automation and BeamNG.Drive. As you guys can tell, we are creating a Hypermiler. I've done this before, but with 1990s-ish technology, so we're doing a modern Hypermiler. We're using a very, much more unique body. This is another mod body. The drag coefficient for this body is pretty much double what the previous one was, so I'm expecting to get more MPG than 75, which is our last car, which you probably see pictures on the screen, but not a significant amount more. So my goal for this one is to make a production-ish car, probably around the $50,000-$60,000-ish. It's going to be quite underpowered, but that's okay. With, well, really good miles per gallon. I'm hoping for about 100 MPG or more. I did a test build with the other body, which, you know, is the other video I made, and I got about 250 miles per gallon average. So we're not going to get that high with this thing because this body is just much less aerodynamic and it just weighs more because it's bigger, etc. Carbon fiber, monocoque, carbon fiber. This is a production car, but it's a very, very rare production car. It's almost like a car that companies would produce to meet emissions. They're probably going to lose money on every dollar they, you know, spend on this car, basically. Similar to, you know, a couple cars have been made that are just loss leaders. So this is gonna be one of those cars. It's probably gonna be around the $60,000-$70,000 range, maybe. Mid-mounted transverse, I'm thinking. I was thinking push rod for both. That's a little bit expensive. I might change it, but push rod is definitely not meant for road cars usually. But we'll leave it for now because it does save weight. But if the costs don't add up, we'll take it off. New engine. So basically, to inline 3. What are the choices there? We're gonna go for aluminum, 4-valve, VVL. We're going to make a very, very small boy, very, very low stroke, a little bit bigger on the board. I think we're for like a 0.5 liter sounds pretty good. I think before we had a 1 liter, so we could probably bump it up to a 1 liter engine probably, and just see what we can do with this. So a 1 liter, 3-cylinder engine, 0.9999 liter, but that's okay. A cast iron, and then we're going to go low friction cast for better engine efficiency, turbocharged, fuel economy. We're going to do this as the generic build for the turbo. Actually, I'll set it up later. Injection direct per cylinder. This is not, you know, an everyday production car. Obviously this is probably a very, very one-off, not one-off, but it's a production car, but just a very expensive one for what it is. If you want fuel economy, then this thing is your car. No cat, because this thing is already going to be very, very good for emissions. We don't probably need one. Reverse flow, and probably even, so do a reverse flow and probably even no first muffler, I'm thinking. So right now 28% efficiency, 88 horsepower. That's just a basic tune here. We can maybe even go for a straight through muffler because the engine is still incredibly quiet and we are gaining slight better efficiency with it. So this is the body, as you guys can really tell. This is pretty much a 2020 concept coupe body. It is actually, I think, a little better aero than the hatchback. I might change the hatchback or the coupe depending on how this works out. Whatever's better. Dual clutch. We can go with 6-speed just to start. No differential. We're gonna. This is basically a hyped up economy car. A medium compound and pretty small tires, probably like what, 125s. This is, I'm not gonna say cutting corners. It's not cutting corners, but it's I mean, it's also cutting costs and stuff. But it's got a purpose, and that purpose is to be a very, very, very good fuel economy car. Alloy wheels, I think we can probably go magnesium wheels, maybe carbon fiber if we've got budget. We'll go vented discs, 1 piston, and just small for now. I might go carbon ceramic depending on the budget. Fully clad cooling flaps, please, and just a 1-seater. This is a production car. It's a coupe, you know. It's kind of a sporty kind of car. This is not... It's similar to the Volkswagen XL1. It's a car you can buy, but it's a car that they're going to lose money on, that no one's going to make money on. We're going to go for no entertainment. I might go basic if the budget and weight allows. No power steering, because for a car this light, you're not going to need it. I'll leave all the traction. We can just go like ESC. Like, do we really need too much traction aids? Standard 10s, not for the best safety. This is not your mass production car. Safety is not I mean, it's a priority, but it's not as big as it would be on something mass production. We'll just do semi-active and passive sway bars, I think we'll do. So adding a bit higher quality with the semi-active, but taking away from the weight that would add it. It's 7 pounds that we're saving right there. So 87 mpg is what we're starting with. That's a pretty good baseline, and right now we got a 6-speeds, so you can go to even, so actually a 6-speed and a 5-speed are the best. And if we just even right out, amp up the gearing, 98 mpg right there. Oh, that was actually pretty good. 98 was actually 100. So we just play around with the gearing and stuff. 100 mpg is what we can get right now. 0 to 60 in 8.5 seconds, which honestly is pretty damn incredible. Quite good reliability, 776. The safety is actually still up there, 50. I was actually aiming for like 40 safety, so we can actually probably even lower it down. 47 safety, and we're saving some weight as well. There we go. So we're doing 40.6 safety, so I mean, I'm not sure what that scale really is, but it's not the best safety. But 103, 104 mpg is what we're looking at right now. We're going to tune this to normal use. A bit more weight savings right there. And we'll lower the time of speed down because there's no point in having it set that high. So, yeah, it looks like 6th gear takes us to 360 kilometers an hour, which is just obscene. And 0 to 100 is 8.1 seconds now. If you actually go, we can get it down to 7.4. This is a similar 0 to 60. Similar, it's obviously slower, but this is like a Honda Civic SI, 0 to 60. For a car that costs $62,000. So we're right on budget for now. The push rod is actually looking like it's going to work pretty well. Can we go rear engine? Oh, we can. We can save 50 pounds going rear engine. And that's even switching. So if we switch to... Oh, McPherson struts are actually the same weight as push rod. Okay, McPherson struts it is. That saves a bit of money. And rear engine saves a bit of money in weight too. So we're down to $50,000. That's not bad at all. Yeah, the push rods are really expensive apparently. So if we go to a 5-speed, we're getting 107 mpg. I think like anything over this, I'm honestly happy with. Then carbon ceramics, I guess if we have the budget, we're only saving off 10. Oh, that's not bad. Only $1,000. That's not bad at all. We can go smaller tires. No, hard long life. There we go. An extra 2 mpg and carbon fiber wheels, an extra mpg. We're at $52,500. If we make the rims are right now 16 inches. If we make them, is that gonna improve it a little bit? Just a bit. It's not really worth it for aesthetics. We're gonna make it a little bigger just so it doesn't look too terrible. And one compromise we're gonna have, obviously, you can see the wheels are so far in. We're just gonna put them spaced out. That's gonna add a bunch of weight. But we're gonna have to do it because it just looks so. It's cheaper than making it. It's less weight than actually having the tires. But it still looks real wonky. Then we'll do the compromise for the weight here. So we're still getting 107 mpg. We made the cost about 2.5 mpg, 3 mpg. Slightly higher safety apparently, and lower everything else. 0 to 68 seconds, which is still pretty damn impressive, honestly. If it goes Ford Spires 8.1 and Slicks 8.1. Honestly, this car is looking not too bad. It's looking like a concept car. It is massive. If we go for the hatchback, which does have, oh, so 0.22 coefficient of drag versus 0.25, but this thing looks, they're the same wheelbase. I'm not sure the same length though. So 58 grand we're looking at, and 1,500 pounds and less mpg. Look at that. The coefficient of drag actually matters a lot for in-game mpg, not necessarily BeamNG.Drive. So yeah, 101 mpg. We've actually gone down just by changing the bodies back and forth. We do not need this differential. This differential is actually okay. Things are slowly changing weirdly. 101 mpg. So up the top speed right there. The mpg went down a bit for no apparent reason. So we saw basic, standard, basic. All that stuff is all nice and good and to this for normal. Okay, so we're still over 100 mpg. We lost like 5 for no reason at all. Just sometimes changing things around, honestly, doesn't like that. If we actually make this thing all-wheel drive even, which should be so pointless. Rear engine, front-wheel drive. Rear engine, front-wheel drive, this could be. This is a rear engine vehicle. Front-wheel drive. That'd be just hilarious. Okay, so can we, okay, so 5-speed, 6-speed, 7-speed. Okay, so 5-speed is the best. Sequential actually might be, yeah. Manual's the best, but we'll go with sequential because it's still somewhat streetable. Oh, the tires are massive. That's why. There's the tire issue. So 125s, please. And we're getting some pretty strong oversteer. Well, that's fine. This car is not meant for highway speeds at all. And yeah, 109 mpg. Honestly, like that seems like pretty respectable. The VW XL1, which is experimental one, I think is what it stood for. That thing was expected to hit around 250 mpg, whereas for actual day-to-day driving, it was expected, well, it could hit more around the 100 mpg mark. So right now we're hitting around the same mpg as a what $115,000 Volkswagen, which is a hybrid, by the way, and we're faster to 0 to 60. We've got more power than it. So honestly, this is looking like a pretty good win. We can actually increase. Okay, no, we can't. What about the cam profile here? 90 horsepower, 90 torque. We're getting slightly better efficiency. I really want to hit that magical 110, even though it's not magical at all. The interior is disgusting. The safety is still over 40. We want to keep it that way if we can. We still have a bit of budget, don't we? We still have $10,000. We have $10,000 somehow now. We're gonna increase the aerodynamics because like that thing can give us an extra 5 mpg if we go to 15. The wheels and the drivetrain are other important things. This can give us ooh, nice big bump there to 112. I mean, you know, it's a 3 mpg difference, but still, it's a difference. And wheels, 112 again. So actually, wheels are the least. Air is the best. And if we just actually go to this, 114, but at the cost of what? Yeah, $1.5 million. Yeah, increasing the chassis cost is definitely not the way to do these things. Now, what about the engine? If we increase the engine, you know, goodness of it basically by a bit, if we increase the turbocharger will give us better efficiency. We're only getting 1% gain. +5 is probably the highest quality you want to do. Okay, that's giving us some pretty good gains there. And what about the bottom end? Because we do have that low friction. It doesn't actually matter. Okay, so do +5 there, +5 there, and I think what's the cost now? So 60 grand. We're still on budget, which is just great. And now we actually have a bit of wiggle room for increasing the power and performance. Oh, just overall performance, I guess, of this engine. We're going to increase the compression. So we're getting 93 horsepower, 93 torque, 34.8% efficiency. With 35% efficiency would be just fabulous, to be honest. If we increase ignition timing now, we're not really doing it. Smaller exhaust. No, you know what? I'm happy with. Oh, actually, we're losing a bit of horsepower. Not really like it matters, but we'll save 2 pounds right there. I'll do that. So $61,000. That's the final cost for now. 0 to 60 in the under 8 seconds. 115 mpg average, and it weighs 1,400 pounds. So we're lighter than the VW XL1. We're definitely more stylish so far. So all that's left to do for this build is design this beast, do a bit of tweaking here and there, and then take it for a drive in BeamNG.Drive. So sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy. Alright, so we are building our modern eco Hypermiler kind of concept car. So this is the body I've chosen, obviously, and I had a bit of work already done on the front end. I recorded it, but the file was corrupted, so I lost that. So basically, I redo most of the front end anyway. We have some very aggressive lines, very sharp angled lines, basically sort of like curved rectangles inside of the headlight housing, with like another curved rectangle around it for the headlight housing, and then some lines going up and around on the sides there, just to give the car a better definition than what it has, because this car is kind of hard to design with in a reasonably short amount of time. So I do add basically some more black plastic. It would be some black, you know, plastic all around the car. This car basically has no front grille because it's a concept car. You don't need a grille in a concept car, or even on some production cars, you don't need a grille. The engine is in the back. I am working on the mirrors now, basically trying to decide what I want for the mirrors. And I do end up having basically lights or antennas as the mirrors, and those are going to be basically like cameras on the sides. This is a concept car. It's going to have cameras. It's fancy. Now the back end. So basically a similar design to the front end. It's going to go all the way around and then come down to the bottom. I'm just working on how I'm going to have the actual housing itself. And I do end up changing it to put it on the very top and make it a bit bigger even after that. So it's a bit of a rectangle right now. Then I make it a bit bigger, just to make it, you know, more larger, because it is quite small when it's not there. Then add some more little rectangles or squares at the bottom there, give the back end a little bit of distinct difference to the front end, adding sort of the L shape coming down the sides and the bottom with its own sort of unique flare on it, and then adding pretty much an exhaust tip that goes just inside the body, in the grill there. Touching up a few things with the headlights, adding a reverse light, and then adding some detail to the bottom light, just a little bit more definition. This car is a pretty simple design. But in front of us, this is the car complete. It is the Cara e-Hybrid with a little bit of a logo there, and just tweaking a few things here or there. Like I said, the Cara e-Hybrid concept car. It's not really a hybrid, but it is a hybrid to me. Alright guys, so like I said, this is the Cara e-Hybrid. It's not really a hybrid, but in real life it probably would be a hybrid, or it would be a full electric car, just judging off the looks. It's sort of a concept car come to reality, similar to the Volkswagen XL1, like I keep mentioning. We finished off at 1,450 pounds. That's only because the car is now front-wheel drive, front-engine front-wheel drive. For some reason, you know, obviously I want to do a test to make sure it works in Beam, and it wouldn't work rear engine. The engine would instantly not overheat, but there'd be oil starvation somehow. So I just switched to front wheel drive. We did gain 50 pounds. We dropped down from 115 mpg to 113. So in reality, we'd be at 115 if this car worked. Still $61,000 the cost, which is quite a cheap cost. Let's just do a quick overview of the design and then jump into BeamNG.Drive for a short drive. Starting with this little badge, I just made a random badge. I thought it turned out pretty nice. Looks almost like a really high, not really a really high end, but like a luxurious kind of high end kind of concept car kind of badge. This is at the end of the day a hybrid in quotations electric car, maybe concept car, gas car, a 92 horsepower. That's what it's got, which is more than the Volkswagen XL1 that I'm comparing this to. So we have basically the L daytime running lights, the L-shaped daytime running lights that sort of stop right here. I'm not sure actually what's happening with this. I'm going to move that down just a bit. I'm not sure what happened there. Just going to come down to here. That's better. So we have some square or some rectangle, should I say, headlights in here that sort of follow up and flow with this. They also have their own little shape inside of it. There is no light bar going across, which I was actually contemplating, but, you know, would that be... You know, would that be street legal? Would this body be street legal? Because look at it, it's a very, very sharp front end. We're just gonna imagine that this is a street legal, very, very rare production car that doesn't have to meet safety regulations because it's so rare, or crash regulations like pedestrian safety regulations because it is a little bit sharp. That's okay. So I didn't change a whole lot to the actual design of the car. Like I played around with the shape just a bit. You can't really do much with this body. It is a mod body. So L headlights, and then some square some L daytime running light, and then L or a square rectangle kind of block. You know, integrated headlight system thing. The turn signals would be integrated with some part of this, probably with like this is what I would guess, or maybe the whole square in this. I'm not sure. A good bit would be a turn signal. Also the actual daytime running light or headlight. Just a pretty simple black robe with some lines through there at the bottom. Pretty simple, nothing too fancy. The hood, nothing changed really. We have the lights going up on the hood. And then we just have a little bit of white there just to give it a bit more... I don't know, if we have it like this, it's just a little bit too blocky for me. I don't know. I thought it looked better like this. Then to the side, we have no mirrors, as you could tell, like I said, on the wheels. They're probably not for everyone, but I think they look kind of cool. And again, this is like a concept car come to reality. So we have basically what I am imagining, and yes, I've got a great imagination, clearly. Two antennas as pretty much two cameras, and they would work together probably to have some sort of side camera. Sure. We have its turn signals, integrated into the, you know, mirror kind of thing, housing, right in there, so you'd sort of see them as you're driving by. The door handle is pretty much just like some sort of button that you press, probably this little white button here. This is actually a gas cap. I thought it looked pretty cool how they're angled to it. I kind of like that. They're not angled up how I like it, but I couldn't really get it that great, but it still looks good. I like that. Very, very plain on the side here. This is kind of a concept car coming to reality. Oh, this badge glitched out. That's fine. Coming to the back, pretty similar to the front. So we have L-shaped daytime running lights, or I guess this could be just, you know, nighttime, daytime running. This is just lights on the side here. Reverse light right in the middle there, and these could also double as the return signal or something like that. So basically, since the actual brake lights up here are on the actual, because this is a coupe, but this is also like a hatchback coupe. So this is part of the trunk here. So this whole thing would probably move up, or most of it would probably move up. So this is probably the actual main brake light housing. This just looks better. I'm pretty happy with how the back end turned out. Again, everything's on the kind of plain side, but this car is supposed to be just very clean, very minimalistic, very, I don't want to say futuristic, but it's just supposed to be a minimalist design. You can see the logo more there. Then a keyhole. This is supposed to be, at least in my eyes, like a backup camera. You know, some sort of technology. I don't know. Then we have a pretty similar, you know, rear kind of diffuser area as we do to the front. It's a bit more aggressive on the rear. And there is an actual grille. This is the only grille in the whole car, somehow. So yeah, the car is pretty much good to go. I just tuned a few things like aero. Not aero, the wheels. I made the wheels a bit bigger in the rear, a bit smaller in the front. So 155 rear, 125 front, because we are getting some severe, and I mean pretty severe, oversteer. So I just did this, and now it's very, very understeery, which is fine. This is going to be a safe car. This is a road car. This suspension is not really tuned at all. We'll just go normal tune. That's fine. So what we're going to do now is take this car for a quick drive in BeamNG.Drive and see if this concept car is really as great as I hope it is. Okay, so we're here in BeamNG.Drive with the, I think the Katara e-hybrid, I think that's what this thing's called. It transferred over pretty well. The only thing is the back end kind of transferred a bit wonky, and all the lights are there, but they all still work. If we just turn them on, they all still work. They're just sort of not really there. This car is very, very, very bright lights. There's a lot of lights on this car. So basically we're here getting 1,500 liters for 100 kilometers. No. We're going to do a bit of a fuel economy test, just a bit of hypermiling, but I also want to see how this car drives. So we're going to go at a pretty reasonable pace. And this car is not, I mean, it's slow, but it's not that slow. But it's 0 to 60 in the 7 to 8 seconds. This is like Honda Civic 0 to 60. Except, of course, our car costs about 3 times as much as a Honda Civic. Going for a bit of a drive through the grass, apparently. Like, even at a red line right now, we're averaging a pretty high line in liters 100 kilometers. If we're just like even right now, keeping in the pretty high revs, it's still managing quite good MPG. And if we actually like are kind of not really conservative, but if we're like not a total asshole driving, like not ringing out at 8,000, just 6,000, it's getting pretty reasonable miles per gallon. Right now we're getting 8, and if we can hypermile this thing, we can probably get a bit better. So if you just go on this track in circles here and just put it down in 5th gear, take it nice and slow. We're getting 2 liters 100 kilometers. We got to turn right around here actually. Perfect. That was a perfect turn. So we'll go a little faster here, get up to speed a little quicker. Let's get up to 100 kilometers an hour actually. We're going to reset this and go to 100. We'll see if we can get it 100. Now pretty much 100 kilometers an hour in 5th gear. We're going to hit the wall here, but we were getting around, going up in the 2 MPG range. Not bad. This is not the perfect track. Well, I just came here for fun. This is not the perfect track to, of course, test out. Best MPG. But in automation, it theoretically gets 112 MPG. Average is what I guess it is. Or is it the best? I'm not too sure. I'm assuming it's average. Like, even just driving 7.4 liters, 100 kilometers, just driving at a pretty brisk pace. And honestly, like this car handles pretty well. It is incredibly light. I want to make a high performance version of this just for the total lulls. Look at that. Oh, pops and crackles. This is a performance car. If we change this, what else do we got here? Average fuel consumed. Fuel consumption. Oh, this is current fuel consumption. Okay, this is current. Okay, this is current. So if we just go like this, keeping it at red line is actually better than not red line, apparently. Like if we're going 100 kilometers an hour, let's just slow down here to 100. We're gonna go to here. We're gonna turn around. And we're just gonna see what we can do on the straightaway here. We're gonna up to 100, and we'll just go slow. Like we're not cruising in 5th at 95 kilometers an hour, getting us like 4 or 5 liters 100 kilometers, which seems pretty good to me. Probably not 100 MPG daily use, but you know that's okay. I'm not sure what I have assigned for cruise control. Okay, but now I do. Just get up there real quick. Well, how did I set that before? I'm not even sure. Well, we'll just keep cruising ourselves. So we're going 100 kilometers an hour in 5th, and we're getting what? 3.5-ish MPG, or liters 100 kilometers, not MPG. You know, I think the back end kind of reminds me of a Corvette just a bit. And this thing will just do like total. Like, can we do brake stand? No, we can't. Okay, we don't have that much power. Look at that. You'd impress your friends with a massive burnout there, a rolling burnout. Overall, I think it's a lot of fun to drive. Honestly, a lot of fun to drive this car. I keep saying honestly, I really want to build a track version of this vehicle now. I might build like a super Hypermiler track car. Like 300 horsepower in this thing would be a good amount of horsepower, or even like 1,000 horsepower would be crazy. Let's just see. I just want to see liters per 100 kilometers. We're getting about 67 US miles per gallon. I think it's pretty impressive for, you know, highway cruising. 67. I mean, theoretical, I guess, is 115 or whatever, but obviously we're not going to get that. But I think it's not bad. We do have a lot more power than the Volkswagen. We do sound a lot gnarlier. I guess the Scoop's, you know, more for the sporty kind of guy. He's not for the guy who really cares about the economy. It's just kind of a bonus. He wants a really cool looking car, I guess, but he also sort of cares about the economy. I'm not sure. I don't know who this is marketed to, but it's damn well cool. So I think we're going to end it off here. Definitely a lot of fun to drive this car, a lot of fun to build. One of my more simple designs, I would say. Not really a detailed car, but it's a great crashing car too. So the next, or tomorrow's video is going to be the Luxo Barge Part 2 challenge, so make sure to be here for that. Then either Wednesday or Thursday, we'll have the next part, and we'll also live stream one of those 2 days as well. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.